Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question to start. Are you tired of chasing people who don't even value what you offer? Are you done spending your energy trying to convince broke-minded folks to invest in their own future? If that's you, you're about to hear a shift that could change everything. Because the truth is this: if you want to get rich, stop selling broke people and start selling rich people. Why? Because rich people don't ask, how much does it cost? They ask, how much is it worth? That right there, my friend, is a game changer. If you've been wondering why your efforts don't seem to be paying off, it's probably not because you're not working hard enough. Most of the time, the problem isn't your effort. It's your environment. You can fish all day, every day. But if you're fishing in the wrong pond, you'll never catch what you're hoping for. Imagine a fisherman who spends his life at a small pond, catching tiny fish. He masters every technique, wakes up early, puts in the hours, but at the end of the day, his catch can never be bigger than the pond itself allows. Now picture another fisherman who sails out into the deep ocean, where the possibilities are endless. It doesn't take more energy, just a change in direction. That's exactly how wealth works. If you're surrounding yourself with people who don't value growth, if you're pitching your offer to people who are broke-minded, you're not going to reap the rewards of financial abundance, no matter how much passion you put behind it. Here's the hook. Money is not hard to make, but it is hard to make in the wrong place. Too many people are exhausting themselves, grinding day and night, all while aiming at the wrong target. They're selling things to people who can't afford it, or worse, to people who don't even see the value in what's being offered. It's not about rejection. It's about misalignment. You cannot expect millionaire results while operating in a broke ecosystem. You've got to upgrade the pond you're fishing in. Now think about this. Every wealthy person you admire today is not necessarily smarter, stronger, or even luckier than you. The truth is, they made a decision to position themselves differently. They stopped hanging around small ponds filled with people who argue about price tags. They stepped into rooms where people invest, not because they're careless with money, but because they understand the return on investment. When you sell to people with money, you're not begging them to see your value. You're offering them a chance to multiply theirs. And here's where the shift happens when you start fishing in bigger ponds. Something inside of you grows too. Your standards change. Your communication changes. You stop asking, can they afford me? And start asking, am I communicating enough value? Because let me tell you this, wealthy people are not afraid of big numbers. They're afraid of small thinking. They don't want cheap. They want effective. And when you realize that, you stop discounting yourself and start demanding the worth you bring to the table. Picture this. You're a coach charging 100 to people who argue with you over every penny. You spend hours convincing them, only for them to quit halfway because they're not committed. Now shift that same energy towards someone who has money, someone who's already invested in themselves, someone who understands that your coaching could save them years of wasted time. That same offer can now be worth 10,000, and guess what? They'll pay it, they'll show up, and they'll do the work. The difference wasn't you. It was the pond you were fishing in. So ask yourself, are you tired because you're not capable? Or are you tired because you're casting your net in the wrong waters? Stop blaming the size of your catch and start questioning the size of your pond. You were not designed to spend your life chasing minnows when you were created to catch marlins. And here's the kicker. The ocean is already waiting for you. But it's going to take courage to leave the familiar pond. It's going to take faith to believe that you deserve to be in deeper waters. But once you step out, once you change the environment you're operating in, you'll realize that wealth wasn't hiding from you. It was waiting for you to stop fishing small. Most people think sales are about pushing harder, talking faster, or convincing someone who doesn't want what you have. But let me drop a truth bomb on you. Selling is not about force. It's about value. The reason some people struggle in sales is not because their product is bad, not because they lack charisma, but because they haven't learned how to position their value in a way that resonates with people who already have the capacity to pay. Think about this for a moment, people. Don't buy because something is cheap. They buy because it's worth it. And wealthy people don't ask, how much does it cost? They ask, what's the return? If you can show them that your offer multiplies their time, their money, or their influence, the price tag becomes irrelevant. Here's the hook. Stop trying to sell your product like it's a commodity. Stop acting like what you have is just another option in a crowded marketplace. You are not competing on price. You are competing on value. And value is the one thing that can't be duplicated. Imagine this: you walk into a jewelry store. On one counter, there's a shiny ring for $50. On another, there's a diamond ring priced at $50,000. Both are rings. Both sparkle. But one is a trinket and the other is an investment. What makes the difference? It's not the shape, it's the substance. And in the same way, if you position yourself as the $50 trinket, you'll always be haggled down. But if you show up as the $50,000 diamond, you'll attract people who recognize the worth. The real question is, are you articulating your value in a way that makes people lean forward? Are you framing your offer so it solves not just surface level problems, but deep, urgent ones? People don't pay high ticket because they feel generous. They pay because they feel understood. They pay because you have tapped into their pain and shown them a bridge to their desired outcome. And the truth is, when you're selling to rich people, they already know money is a tool. They're not emotional about it. They don't cling to every dollar like it's their last breath. They use it to buy speed, access, and leverage. If you can show them how your offer creates acceleration, your price becomes small in comparison. But let me make this practical. Don't just talk about features, talk about transformation. Don't just say, this program teaches you sales. Say, this program helps you double your revenue in 90 days so you can finally stop worrying about bills and start building the life you imagined. See the difference? One talks about information, the other speaks to transformation. Wealthy clients don't want more information, they want results. And they are willing to pay for speed, clarity, and outcomes. Here's the kicker. Most people undervalue themselves because they assume wealthy clients are intimidating. They assume rich people are harder to sell to. But let me tell you, it's often the opposite. Broke people will argue with you about $10. Wealthy people will thank you for charging them $10,000 if you've clearly shown them how you can save them a year of wasted effort. The barrier is not their wallet. The barrier is your communication. You've got to learn to speak the language of results. You've got to position yourself as the answer to their deeper question. How can I get where I want to go faster, easier, with less risk? So here's my challenge to you. Stop showing up like a salesperson begging for a transaction and start showing up like a trusted advisor offering transformation. Start talking about value in a way that makes the price feel small. Position your product, your service, or your expertise as the bridge between where your client is and where they desperately want to be. And when you do, you'll discover that selling is not about pushing harder. It's about positioning smarter. It's about understanding that the moment your value becomes crystal clear, wealthy people don't just buy from you. They chase you. If you want to understand how to get rich selling to rich people, you must first understand this one truth. Rich people don't buy products. They buy status, they buy identity, they buy what reinforces the story they already believe about themselves. And the moment you grasp that, the way you sell changes forever. Here's the hook. Stop thinking about selling as exchanging goods for money. That's what amateurs do. Professionals understand they're not in the business of selling a thing. They're in the business of selling a shift. A shift in how people see themselves. A shift in how people want to be perceived by others. Think about it. Why does someone spend $300 on a luxury car when a $30,000 car can get them from point A to point B? It's not about transportation. It's about transformation. When they sit in that car, when people see them in that car, it reinforces their identity: successful, powerful, accomplished. They're not just buying a vehicle. They're buying validation. And if you can understand that principle, you'll stop trying to compete on logic and start selling to emotion. Because here's the truth. People make decisions emotionally and justify them logically later. If you keep trying to sell to the logical brain, you'll keep missing the heart that makes the decision. Now, here's where most people go wrong. They think wealthy people don't care about status because they already have money. But that's where you're wrong. The more successful people become, the more invested they are in maintaining and elevating the story they tell themselves about their success. They want to feel like they are still leveling up. They want to believe they are investing in things that separate them from the crowd. And if your product or service is positioned as the thing that reinforces that identity, they won't see it as a purchase. They'll see it as proof of who they are. Let me make it plain. If you're selling coaching, don't just tell them you'll help them learn a new skill. Tell them you'll help them operate at a level that matches the vision they already carry themselves as leaders, visionaries, empire builders. If you're selling a product, don't just list features. Frame it as a symbol of excellence, exclusivity, and elevation. Rich people don't want what everyone else has. They want what very few people can access. And if you can position your offer as rare, premium, and aligned with their identity, you'll no longer be chasing clients. They'll be pursuing you. Here's the kicker. You don't have to exaggerate to do this. You just have to align your offer with the identity your ideal client already believes about themselves. If they see themselves as innovators, position your offer as the cutting-edge solution. If they see themselves as elite, position your offer as the best of the best. If they see themselves as world changers, position your offer as the tool that will multiply their impact. The magic is not in what you sell. The magic is in how you frame it. And let me warn you, if you undervalue your offer, if you present it like it's ordinary, they will treat it like it's ordinary. But the moment you elevate the conversation, the moment you begin speaking the language of status, excellence, and identity, you'll notice something shift. They won't be asking you, why does it cost this much? They'll be asking, how fast can we get started? Because wealthy people don't spend money to lose status. They spend it to gain or reinforce it. So here's my challenge for you today. Stop thinking you're selling products and start realizing you're selling symbols. You're selling transformation wrapped in identity. And once you understand that, you'll never look at sales the same way again. Because it's not about persuading someone who doesn't want what you have. It's about becoming the reflection of who they already believe themselves to be. And when you can hold up that mirror with confidence, wealthy people don't hesitate to buy. They lean in, they say yes, and they pay gladly because you've given them something far greater than a purchase. You've given them proof of who they are becoming. When it comes to selling to wealthy people, here's the shift you need to make. Stop selling commodities and start selling transformation. Rich people are not impressed with the basics. They can get that anywhere. What they want, what they crave, is the experience of going from where they are to where they aspire to be. And they want that journey to feel elevated, exclusive, and meaningful. If you're just offering them another thing, you've already lost them. But if you offer them a transformation that enhances their story, you've got their full attention. Think about it. A wealthy person does not buy a personal trainer simply to lift weights. They can afford a fully stocked gym in their home. They buy the transformation of becoming leaner, stronger, sharper, and having someone hold them to a standard they already believe is theirs. They don't pay for push-ups. They pay for the identity of being at peak performance. And if you want to sell at that level, you can't just sell sessions or products. You must sell the transformation, the future self they get to step into by saying yes to you. Here's a hook most people miss: transformation is not about what they get, it's about who they become. Wealthy people are constantly looking to evolve, to operate at the next level, to prove to themselves that they are still ascending. And the question they're asking, sometimes silently, is not, what will I get if I buy this? But who will I become if I buy this? If your offer answers that question with clarity and conviction, you are no longer a salesperson. You are a guide on their journey of becoming. Now let's address the truth. Transformation requires a different language. If you're pitching features and benefits, you're talking at the wrong level. Wealthy clients don't care that your program has 8 modules or that your service comes with a limited support. They want to know how this investment will alter the way they see themselves, how it will elevate their influence, how it will reinforce their significance. You must speak in the language of results, identity, and exclusivity. That's the only language transformation understands. And here's the power move. You must create a vision that is bigger than the transaction. Paint a picture so clear, so compelling, that they can't help but imagine themselves inside of it. Don't tell them you're selling financial consulting. Tell them you're guiding them into becoming the kind of person whose wealth is no longer tied to stress, but to significance. Don't say you're selling a mastermind. Tell them you're providing the room where they become the person whose ideas influence nations, whose voice shifts industries. You are not selling access, you are selling ascension. The wealthy know they can buy things. They can buy more cars, more houses, more vacations. But here's the secret: what they truly hunger for is meaning. They want to feel like the moves they're making are aligned with their purpose, that their money is not just buying objects, but unlocking versions of themselves that would otherwise remain hidden. If you can position your offer as the bridge to that deeper meaning, you will no longer have to justify your price. Your offer will justify itself because it is tied to something money alone can't buy: personal evolution. Let me challenge you. The next time you present your product or service, don't talk about what they'll get in their hands. Talk about what they'll get in their hearts, in their identity, in the story they tell about themselves. Because the truth is, wealthy people don't just want to buy, they want to become. And the person who can sell them that next version of themselves, the person who can hold up a mirror that says, "This is who you could be," will never struggle to close deals. So remember this: if you want to get rich selling to rich people, stop selling what is and start selling what could be. Stop focusing on the transaction and start magnifying the transformation. Because when you do that, your offer is no longer optional. It becomes inevitable. And that's how you shift from chasing clients to becoming the one they're chasing. The one who unlocks the very thing they've been longing for all along, a higher version of themselves. When it comes to serving wealthy clients, one of the greatest secrets you can ever unlock is that they are not buying with their wallets. They are buying with their trust. The biggest misconception people have is thinking money is the barrier. But with rich people, money is never the issue. The issue is confidence. Do they believe in you? Do they trust you enough to align their reputation, their results, and their identity with what you are offering? If the answer is no, the sale is gone before you even finish your pitch. But if the answer is yes, then not only will they buy from you, they'll continue to buy from you. And they'll introduce you to circles of influence you couldn't access on your own. That's the real economy of selling to the wealthy, the economy of trust. Here's the hook. Wealthy people are not impressed by your product, your presentation, or even your price. They are impressed by your certainty. They are buying you as much as they are buying what you sell. If you show up hesitant, apologetic, or unsure of your value, they will sense it instantly and walk away, because rich people operate at the speed of discernment. They can read insecurity like an open book. But when you show up with conviction, when you stand on your value and present yourself as someone who doesn't need their money, but is offering them access to a higher level of transformation, they lean in. They don't want to buy from the desperate. They want to buy from the confident, the bold, the certain. Trust is built through positioning. And positioning comes from how you carry yourself before you ever make the pitch. Do you show up as someone who's chasing a client or as someone who's curating who gets access to your expertise? That shift alone creates a magnetic pull. Wealthy clients don't want to feel like they're being sold. They want to feel like they're being invited. They want to feel chosen. And if you can create that aura, you shift the dynamic entirely. You go from seeking approval to being the one who sets the standard. Now, understand this. Building trust is not about being flawless. It's about being authentic. Rich people don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be real. They want to know that your principles are non-negotiable, that your word means something, that when you say you can deliver, you actually deliver. They're not impressed with hype. They're impressed with follow through. And when you consistently show that you over-deliver, that you protect their time, that you value their vision, they begin to trust you in ways that money can't buy. And here's something else: a trust is built in the little things. It's built in whether you keep your appointments, whether you respect their time, whether your energy is consistent. It's built in how you follow up, how you handle challenges, how you treat their assistants and their staff. Wealthy people are watching more than you think. And they're not just watching your pitch. They're watching your character. They know that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if they can trust you in the small details, they'll trust you with the big deals. But let me give you the real gem. Trust accelerates wealth transfer. When a wealthy person trusts you, you don't just get access to their money. You get access to their network, their influence, their recommendations. And one referral from a trusted client can open doors that decades of cold calls never could. That's why trust is not just an emotional asset. It is a financial one. Trust multiplies, and when you sell at this level, your reputation becomes your greatest currency. So when you stand before wealthy clients, stop asking, how can I get them to buy? And start asking, how can I earn their trust? Because the moment they trust you, the moment they sense that you are reliable, certain, and authentic, the sale isn't even a question. It's a foregone conclusion. The wealthy don't buy products, they buy certainty. They don't buy pitches, they buy belief. And the person who can embody that belief will never run out of clients, because trust is the one thing wealthy people will always pay for again and again. When it comes to selling to rich people, you have to understand one thing. They don't buy with their eyes. They buy with their identity. Wealthy people don't just purchase products or services. They purchase alignment with who they believe themselves to be or who they aspire to become. That's why the sixth key is mastering the art of positioning yourself as a gateway to their elevated identity. And here's the hook. If you can position your offer as an extension of their self-image, you'll never have to chase a sale again, because they will pursue the feeling of alignment you create. Think about it. Rich people don't go out and buy a car just because it has 4 wheels and an engine. They buy the car that reflects their status, their taste, their success. They don't choose the watch because it tells time. They choose it because it tells their time. It says, this is who I am. This is the level I operate at. This is the story I want the world to believe about me. Your product, your service, your message. It has to connect with that deeper need. If you only sell what it does, you'll lose them. But if you sell what it means, you'll win them every single time. Wealthy people live in a world of symbols. Every decision they make, every association they have, every purchase they invest in is a declaration of identity. And if you want to serve them, you can't just be a provider. You have to be a mirror that reflects their greatness back to them. You must become the person who validates the story they want to tell about themselves. If your offer helps them feel more powerful, more influential, more in control, more significant, more impactful, they will see it as essential, not optional. This is why confidence is so critical in your positioning. Because when you show up uncertain, you're not just selling a product. You're selling a contradiction to their identity. Wealthy people see themselves as decisive, powerful, visionary. If you appear timid, they won't resonate with you because your energy clashes with the identity they hold. But when you show up bold, certain, unapologetic about the value you bring, you're not just selling. You're embodying the very character traits they admire and aspire to. And when they see themselves in you, the transaction becomes magnetic. Positioning yourself also means raising the standard of access. If you make yourself too available, if you look like you're begging for their attention, you immediately devalue yourself in their eyes. Rich people don't chase what's abundant. They chase what's rare. They chase what's exclusive. They chase what not everyone can have. And that means you have to build scarcity into your positioning. Instead of asking, will you buy from me? You need to communicate, I'm offering an opportunity, and not everyone qualifies to take advantage of it. That shift makes them lean in because wealthy people love to be chosen, not targeted. And here's a truth you can't miss: wealthy clients are not loyal to the cheapest. They're loyal to the one who helps them feel the richest. And feeling rich isn't about dollars. It's about dignity. It's about identity. When your offer makes them feel more significant, when your service reinforces their influence, when your presence validates their status, you stop being just another vendor and you become part of their story. And once you're in their story, you don't need to worry about competition because nobody fires the person who helps them feel like the hero of their own narrative. Positioning is not just about what you say, but how you make them feel. Did your interaction make them feel important? Did it make them feel seen? Did it make them feel respected? Because wealthy people live in a world where everyone wants something from them, but very few people actually make them feel valued for who they are. If you can fill that gap, if you can serve their identity instead of just their wallet, you will win their trust, their loyalty, and their business. So let me leave you with this thought. If you want to sell to rich people, stop selling to their pocket and start selling to their perception. Stop asking, will they buy this? And start asking, how does this help them see themselves? Because the moment your product or service becomes a reflection of their identity, you won't need to persuade them. They'll persuade themselves. And that is the highest level of selling when your offer doesn't just meet a need, it fulfills an identity. And when you master that, you'll never have to worry about finding wealthy clients because they'll be the ones finding you. So here's my closing thought. Stop wasting your time trying to convince people who don't want to be convinced. Stop lowering your prices just to make someone feel comfortable. Instead, elevate your value, raise your standards, and walk boldly into the marketplace of kings. Don't ask, how can I afford them? Ask, how can I position myself so they can't afford to ignore me? When you master that, You'll never chase money again. Money will chase you. And that, my friends, is how you get rich by selling rich people.